Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and seekers of truth, today we gather not just as individuals, but as a community of faith, hope, and purpose. Life, as we know it, is not a straight path. It is a journey filled with peaks and valleys, sunshine and storms, triumphs and trials. And in the midst of these difficult times, one question rises above the noise. How do we strengthen our faith when everything around us seems to be falling apart? Let me remind you today that faith is not the absence of challenges. Faith is the presence of conviction in the face of those challenges. Faith is not a feeling, it is a decision. It is the unwavering belief that there is a divine purpose behind every struggle, a divine plan behind every pain, and a divine promise behind every problem. So, how do we strengthen our faith in difficult times? Let us explore this together. Ladies and gentlemen, let us delve deeply into the profound truth that storms are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to develop you. Every trial, every challenge, every moment of adversity you face is not an accident. It is not a random occurrence or a cruel twist of fate. It is a divine appointment, a purposeful moment designed to shape you, refine you, and prepare you for the greatness that lies ahead. You see, life is not a series of random events. It is a carefully orchestrated journey. And in this journey, the storms you face are not interruptions. They are interventions. They are not setbacks. They are setups. They are not meant to break you. They are meant to build you. The storm is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It is the tool in the hands of the master craftsman, chiseling away the rough edges, molding you into the masterpiece you are always destined to be. Think about it for a moment. When a potter sits at the wheel, shaping a lump of clay into a beautiful vessel, the process is not always gentle. There is pressure, there is friction, there is resistance. But it is through this process that the clay is transformed. It is through the pressure that the vessel takes shape. It is through the friction that the beauty is revealed. In the same way, the storms you face are part of the process. They are the pressure that shapes you, the friction that refines you, the resistance that strengthens you. But here is the key. You must understand the purpose of the storm. You must recognize that the storm is not there to harm you. It is there to help you. It is not there to weaken you. It is there to strengthen you. It is not there to defeat you. It is there to develop you. The storm is a necessary part of your growth. It is the fire that purifies the gold, the wind that strengthens the roots, the rain that nourishes the soil. Without the storm, there can be no growth. Without the storm, there can be no strength. Without the storm, there can be no transformation. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. You may be saying, but this storm is too much, it's too hard, it's too painful. And I understand. I truly do. The storm can feel overwhelming. It can feel unbearable. It can feel like it will never end. But let me remind you of this. The storm is temporary. It will not last forever. It may last for a night, but joy comes in the morning. It may last for a season, but seasons change. It may last for a moment, but moments pass. The storm is not your permanent reality. It is a temporary reality. And in the midst of the storm, you must hold on to this truth. The storm is working for you, not against you. You see, the storm has a purpose. It is revealing what is truly inside of you. It is exposing your weaknesses, yes, but it is also uncovering your strengths. It is testing your faith, yes, but it is also strengthening your faith. It is shaking your foundations, yes, but it is also solidifying your foundations. The storm is not just a test. It is a testimony in the making. It is not just a trial. It is a triumph in the making. It is not just a challenge. It is a champion in the making. And so, in the midst of the storm, you must choose to see beyond the wind and the waves. You must choose to see the purpose behind the pain. You must choose to see the plan behind the problem. You must choose to see the promise behind the pressure. The storm is not just something you endure, it is something you embrace. It is not just something you survive, it is something you thrive in. It is not just something you go through, it is something you grow through. Let me ask you this. What if the storm you are facing right now is the very thing that is preparing you for your next level? What if the pain you are feeling right now is the very thing that is positioning you for your breakthrough? What if the challenge you are wrestling with right now is the very thing that is equipping you for your destiny? What if the storm is not a sign of God's absence, but a sign of his presence? What if the storm is not a sign of his rejection, but a sign of his preparation? You see, the storm is not just a test of your faith, it is a testament to your faith. It is not just a trial of your character, it is a testimony of your character. It is not just a challenge to your resolve, it is a confirmation of your resolve. The storm is not just something you face, it is something you overcome. It is not just something you endure, it is something you conquer. It is not just something you survive, it is something you rise above. And so, in the midst of the storm, you must hold on to this truth. The storm is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of your testimony. It is not the end of your journey, it is the start of your breakthrough. It is not the end of your faith, it is the strengthening of your faith. The storm is not meant to destroy you, it is meant to develop you. It is not meant to weaken you, it is meant to strengthen. It is not meant to defeat you, it is meant to define you. So stand firm in the midst of the storm. Hold on to the promises of God. Trust in his plan. Believe in his purpose. And know that the storm is not your enemy, it is your ally. It is not your downfall, it is your setup. It is not your defeat, it is your victory. The storm is not meant to break you, it is meant to build you. And as you weather the storm, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the greatness that lies ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, let us turn our attention to the power of anchoring ourselves in the promises of God, especially in the midst of life's most difficult times. When the winds of adversity blow and the waves of uncertainty rise, it is easy to feel overwhelmed, to feel lost, to feel as though you are adrift in a sea of chaos. But I want to remind you today that you are not adrift. You are anchored. You are held firm by the unshakable, unchanging, unfailing promises of God. These promises are not just words on a page. They are the very foundation of your faith, the bedrock of your hope, and the source of your strength. In difficult times, the natural tendency is to focus on what you can see, the problems, the obstacles, the challenges. But faith calls you to shift your focus. Faith calls you to look beyond the visible and fix your eyes on the invisible. Faith calls you to anchor yourself, not in the circumstances around you, but in the promises of God that are over you. These promises are your lifeline. They are your assurance. They are your guarantee that no matter how dark the night may seem, the dawn is coming. No matter how fierce the storm may rage, the calm is on the horizon. No matter how impossible the situation may appear, the breakthrough is already on its way. The promises of God are not conditional, they are eternal. They are not based on your ability, they are based on his faithfulness. They are not limited by your circumstances, they are limitless in his power. When God makes a promise, he is not making a suggestion. He is making a declaration. He is not offering a possibility. He is stating a certainty. His promises are yes and amen. They are firm, they are final, they are forever. And when you anchor yourself in these promises, you tap into a source of strength that cannot be shaken, a source of hope that cannot be extinguished, and a source of peace that cannot be disturbed. Consider this: when you are facing a financial crisis, God promises to supply all your needs according to his riches in glory. When you are facing a health challenge, God promises that by his stripes you are healed. When you are facing a relational breakdown, God promises to restore what the locusts have eaten. When you are feeling alone, God promises to never leave you nor forsake you. When you are feeling overwhelmed, God promises to give you peace that surpasses all understanding. These promises are not just for someone else, they are for you. They are not just for another time, they are for this time. They are not just for another place, they are for this place. They are your inheritance, they are your birthright, they are your assurance. But here is the key. You must take hold of these promises. You must claim them. You must declare them. You must meditate on them. You must speak them over your life. The enemy will try to distract you. He will try to discourage you. He will try to make you doubt. But you must stand firm. You must remind yourself of what God has already said. You must remind yourself of what he has already promised. You must remind yourself that His word is true, His word is powerful, and His word is alive. Let me ask you this. What would happen if you truly believed the promises of God? What would happen if you truly trusted His word? What would happen if you truly anchored yourself in His truth? I'll tell you what would happen. Fear would lose its grip. Doubt would lose its power. Anxiety would lose its hold. Because when you anchor yourself in the promises of God, you are no longer swayed by the storms around you. You are no longer shaken by the challenges before you. You are no longer moved by the circumstances surrounding you. You are anchored. You are secure. You are steadfast. And here's the beautiful thing about the promises of God. They are not just for you to hold on to. They are for you to live out. They are not just for you to believe. They are for you to act on. Faith is not passive. It is active. It is not just about what you believe. It is about what you do with what you believe. When you anchor yourself in the promises of God, you are not just standing still, you are moving forward. You are not just waiting, you are working. You are not just hoping, you are trusting. You are not just surviving, you are thriving. So, in the midst of your difficult times, I urge you to anchor yourself in the promises of God. Remind yourself of His faithfulness. Remind yourself of His goodness. Remind yourself of His power. Remind yourself of His love. Speak His promises over your life. Declare His truth over your situation. Meditate on His word day and night. Let it fill your heart. Let it guide your steps. Let it shape your perspective. Let it strengthen your faith. And as you do this, you will find that your faith grows stronger. Your hope grows brighter, your peace grows deeper. Because when you anchor yourself in the promises of God, you are not just holding on to something. You are holding on to someone. You are holding on to the one who created the heavens and the earth. You are holding on to the one who parted the Red Sea. You are holding on to the one who raised Lazarus from the dead. You are holding on to the one who conquered the grave. You are holding on to the one who holds your future in His hands. So no matter what you are facing today, no matter how difficult the situation may seem, no matter how impossible the odds may appear, remember this: you are anchored. You are held firm by the promises of God. And those promises are unshakable. They are unchanging. They are unfailing. They are your assurance. They are your confidence. They are your victory. Hold on to them. Stand firm in them. And watch as God moves on your behalf. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take a moment to reflect on the profound importance of surrounding ourselves with a community of faith, especially during life's most challenging seasons. Faith, as powerful and personal as it is, was never meant to be a solitary journey. It was never designed to be walked alone. From the very beginning, we were created for connection, for relationship, for community. We were created to lean on one another, to lift one another up, to encourage one another, and to remind one another of the truth when the storms of life threaten to cloud our vision. In difficult times, the enemy's strategy is often to isolate us. He wants us to feel alone, to feel abandoned, to feel as though no one understands what we are going through. He wants us to withdraw, to retreat into ourselves, to build walls instead of bridges. But let me tell you something. Isolation is dangerous. It is in isolation that doubt grows. It is in isolation that fear takes root. It is in isolation that faith begins to waver. It is in isolation that faith begins to waver. But when we surround ourselves with a community of faith, we create a safe space where doubt is dispelled, fear is confronted, and faith is strengthened. A community of faith is more than just a group of people who share the same beliefs. It is a family. It is a tribe. It is a network of support, encouragement, and accountability. It is a place where you can be real, where you can be vulnerable, where you can share your struggles without fear of judgment. It is a place where you can find strength when you are weak, hope when you are discouraged, and light when you are in darkness. It is a place where you are reminded that you are not alone, that you are loved, that you are valued, and that you are part of something greater than yourself. Think about it for a moment. When you are going through a difficult time, who do you turn to? Who do you call when the weight of the world feels too heavy to bear? Who do you lean on when your faith is being tested? For many of us, it is the people in our community of faith, our friends, our family, our mentors, our pastors, our brothers and sisters in Christ. These are the people who pray for us when we don't have the words to pray. These are the people who speak truth into our lives when we are tempted to believe the lies of the enemy. These are the people who stand with us in the fire and celebrate with us in the victory. But here's the thing. A community of faith is not just about receiving, it is also about giving. It is about being there for others just as they are there for you. It is about being a source of encouragement, a voice of hope, a light in the darkness. It is about lifting others up when they are down, reminding them of God's promises when they are tempted to doubt, and standing with them in their time of need. When you give of yourself in this way, you not only strengthen others, you also strengthen yourself. You remind yourself of the power of faith, the power of love, and the power of community. Now, I know that finding a community of faith is not always easy. In a world that is increasingly disconnected, increasingly individualistic, increasingly focused on self, it can be challenging to find people who truly care, who truly understand, who truly walk in faith. But let me encourage you, do not give up. Do not settle for superficial relationships. Do not isolate yourself. Seek out those who share your faith, your values, your vision. Seek out those who will challenge you, inspire you, and push you to grow. Seek out those who will stand with you no matter what. And when you find that community, cherish it, invest in it, nurture it, be present, be intentional, be real. Show up not just when it is convenient, but when it is hard. Be the kind of friend, the kind of brother or sister, the kind of community member that you would want to have. Because the truth is, a community of faith is only as strong as the people who make it up. It is only as strong as the love, the commitment, and the faith of its members. Let me also say this, a community of faith is not perfect. It is made up of imperfect people just like you and me. There will be misunderstandings. There will be disagreements. There will be moments of frustration and disappointment. But that is okay. Because a true community of faith is not about perfection. It is about grace. It is about forgiveness. It is about love. It is about choosing to see the best in one another, even when it is hard. It is about choosing to extend grace even when it is not deserved. It is about choosing to love even when it is not easy. And here is the beautiful thing about a community of faith. It reflects the heart of God. It is a glimpse of heaven on earth. It is a foretaste of the kingdom of God, where every tear will be wiped away, every wound will be healed, and every heart will be made whole. When you surround yourself with a community of faith, you are not just connecting with people, you are connecting with the divine. You are experiencing the love of God through the love of others. You are experiencing the grace of God through the grace of others. You are experiencing the hope of God through the hope of others. So in the midst of your difficult times, I urge you to lean into your community of faith. Do not try to go it alone. Do not try to carry the burden by yourself. Reach out. Share your struggles. Ask for prayer. Seek counsel. And be open to the ways that God may use others to speak into your life, to encourage you, to strengthen you, and to remind you of His promises. At the same time, be that source of strength for others. Be the one who encourages, who uplifts, who speaks life. Be the one who stands in the gap, who fights in prayer, who believes for the impossible. Because when you surround yourself with a community of faith, you are not just surviving, you are thriving. You are not just enduring, you are overcoming. You are not just walking through the storm, you are walking through it together, hand in hand, heart to heart, faith to faith. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take a moment to reflect on the transformative power of focusing on the bigger picture, especially when we find ourselves in the midst of life's most challenging seasons. Difficult times have a way of narrowing our vision, of pulling our focus inward, of making us hyper-aware of the problems, the pain, and the pressure we are facing. And while it is natural to feel this way, it is also dangerous. Because when we focus solely on the problem, we lose sight of the purpose. When we focus solely on the pain, we lose sight of the plan. When we focus solely on the pressure, we lose sight of the promise. But here is the truth. Your current situation is not your final destination. The storm you are facing is not the end of your story. It is merely a chapter in the greater narrative of your life. The difficulty you are enduring is not a detour. It is a divine setup. It is not a roadblock. It is a stepping stone. It is not a dead end. It is a doorway. And when you shift your focus from the problem to the purpose, from the pain to the plan, from the pressure to the promise, you begin to see things differently. You begin to see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is not just about what is happening to you, it is about what is happening through you. It is not just about the storm you are in, it is about the strength you are gaining. It is not just about the trial you are facing, it is about the testimony you are building. The bigger picture is about the eternal, the everlasting, the unchanging purposes of God. It is about the legacy you are leaving, the impact you are making, the destiny you are fulfilling. It is about the seeds you are planting, the lives you are touching, the kingdom you are advancing. When you focus on the bigger picture, you realize that this difficulty is not just about you. It is about something greater. It is about the lives that will be changed because of your perseverance. It is about the hearts that will be healed because of your faith. It is about the generations that will be impacted because of your obedience. The bigger picture is about the ripple effect of your life, the far-reaching consequences of your choices, the eternal significance of your journey. But here is the challenge. Focusing on the bigger picture requires faith. It requires trust. It requires a willingness to look beyond what you can see and believe in what you cannot see. It requires a shift in perspective, a reorientation of your heart and mind. It requires you to remind yourself daily that God is in control, that He is working all things together for your good, that He is using every trial, every challenge, every setback to prepare you for the greatness that lies ahead. Think about it for a moment. When Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers, he could have focused on the betrayal, the injustice, the pain. But instead, he focused on the bigger picture. He trusted that God had a plan, even when he couldn't see it. And because of his faith, because of his willingness to focus on the bigger picture, he was able to rise from the pit to the palace, from the prison to the throne. His story reminds us that our difficulties are not random. They are purposeful. They are not meaningless. They are meaningful. They are not wasted. They are woven into the fabric of our destiny. When you focus on the bigger picture, you begin to see your difficulties as opportunities. You begin to see your trials as training grounds. You begin to see your challenges as catalysts for growth. You begin to understand that every storm is shaping you, every fire is refining you, every obstacle is preparing you. You begin to realize that the pain you are feeling today is the strength you will need tomorrow. The pressure you are enduring now is the resilience you will rely on later. The struggle you are facing is the foundation for your future success. And here is the beautiful thing about focusing on the bigger picture. It gives you hope. It reminds you that this too shall pass. It reassures you that the storm will not last forever, that the night will not endure, that the pain will not have the final word. It anchors you in the truth that God is faithful, that His promises are true, that His plans for you are good. It fills you with a sense of purpose, a sense of destiny, a sense of anticipation for what is to come. But focusing on the bigger picture is not just about looking ahead. It is also about looking around. It is about recognizing the impact you are having on the lives of others, even in the midst of your own struggles. It is about understanding that your faith, your perseverance, your courage is inspiring others to keep going, to keep believing, to keep hoping. It is about realizing that your story is not just your own. It is part of a larger story, a divine narrative that is being written by the hand of God. So in the midst of your difficult times, I urge you to lift your eyes, look beyond the storm, look beyond the pain, look beyond the pressure. Fix your gaze on the bigger picture. Remind yourself of the purpose behind the problem. Remind yourself of the plan behind the pain. Remind yourself of the promise behind the pressure. And as you do, you will find that your perspective shifts, your faith grows, and your hope is renewed. Remember, the bigger picture is not just about what you are going through. It is about what God is doing through you. It is not just about the storm you are in. It is about the strength you are gaining. It is not just about the trial you are facing. It is about the testimony you are building. The bigger picture is about the eternal, the everlasting, the unchanging purposes of God. It is about the legacy you are leaving, the impact you are making, the destiny you are fulfilling. It is about the seeds you are planting, the lives you are touching, the kingdom you are advancing.